But I want to begin with Cam Newton, and I'm going to go in costume for this. I want to put a towel over my head and kind of, get in my sweet, warm spot, kind of like how Cam Newton does when things don't go well. And because, this is not the greatest day, Colin's out sick, so I'm a little bit depressed. But I wrote a piece. I got caught up in what everybody is doing with Cam Newton these days. We're all coming up with excuses for his performance on Sunday. And I kind of got caught up in that yesterday it was yesterday. We had a discussion on this show, and I got to thinking about our discussion. And then as I was driving home, a friend called me, and we were talking, and we started focusing on how Cam Newton kind of behaves the way Ricky Williams used to behave when he was with the New Orleans Saints and the Miami Dolphins. Ricky Williams had this deal where he couldn't do interviews, or he refused to do interviews unless his helmet was on his head. And I started thinking about Cam after the game greeting Peyton Manning with his helmet fully strapped on, like the game was still going on, and he's got the big smile on his face at that time. And then 30 minutes, an hour later, he's got the official press conference he has to do post-Super Bowl, and he's got the hoodie over his head. And he's dour and sour and short, mumbly. He seems socially awkward. And then I started doing research on the internet and started reading about some of the issues that people have speculated about Cam and his personality, particularly in 2012. I believe Chris Mortensen reported something about how the Panthers were concerned about Cam's mental makeup. And then Ed Werder later in 2012 reported about how potentially Cam held up a team bus sulking in the locker room. Everybody had to wait on Cam to finish sulking. This is straight out of the Ricky Williams playbook. Ricky Williams used to do the same thing to the New Orleans Saints early in his career. He took losses really, really hard. And later, when he goes to Miami, he starts talking about, look, I have social anxiety disorder. And I'm not saying and or suggesting that Cam has social anxiety disorder, because I don't know him well enough to know that, and I'm certainly not a doctor. But there are some things about Cam that remind me of Ricky Williams, and there's something about him that seems a bit socially awkward, particularly in that Super Bowl.